Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Wade Flash YNG DNA. It's spelled YNG DNA, so I'm guessing it's Young DNA, but yeah, this is kind of like the revamped kind of Wade Flash for the fall because it is getting colder. If you guys didn't know, the regular Wade Flash is one of my favorite hoop shoes. It's a really nice budget shoe, also one of the lightest hoop shoes that you can get right now, also with the best ventilation. But of course they changed that all up with this shoe because it's using like a leather material. So yeah, it retails for $100, which is absolutely insane. You get really good performance for only $100. And yeah, both of these shoes are going for the same exact price. And this colorway of course is available, and there's also another colorway. It's like a white upper, which looks really nice. And also the as far as the design goes, they wanted it to be for on-court and also off-court use, and I can definitely see that, especially with this upper. So if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave in the affiliate link in the description box. If you do choose to cop either of these shoes, it does help me out if you buy it through the affiliate link in the description box. It'll be through my link tree, so just go to my link tree and then I'll have the link there. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the support. So let's get it started off with the traction. So yeah, the traction is pretty much identical to the regular Wade Flash, and they are using tough rubber, and tough rubber is specifically designed for outdoor use. It's supposed to be a lot more durable than traditional rubber, and it feels like it'll be very good. You know what I mean? We have this kind of like 4-foot pod, it's this like oval shape, and we have a pretty cool pattern. And then where like your big toe is, you have the Way of Wade logo, and then around that it's like a lightning bolt shaped pattern. But yeah, it feels really hard for the rubber. The grooves are deep and thick. You have a lot of surface area, so durability on an outdoor court, you should be fine, and that's great for a $100 shoe, right? But yeah, also the regular Wade Flash, it had amazing top tier traction. You have a really amazing stop, really hard stop, and also it picked up very minimal dust, and also has a nice little squeak to it, which I do like. You need to break it in a little bit. It's not super loud, but once you break it in, it does get a little bit louder. Of course, that has nothing to do with performance, but to all my hoopers that like to have a squeakier shoe, it's not super squeaky, but it does get a little squeaky, right? And it feels pretty much the exact same here in this shoe. It's just the color is a little bit different. And then here in the middle of the outsole, we have this TPU stabilizer. So it's basically just a midfoot chain plate, and that'll give it better torsional rigidity and support. And then moving on to the heel to toe transition, feels literally the exact same as a regular Wade Flash, right? So here in the heel, we have a nice curved shape, of course. So that helps to give it a nice rocking motion here in the heel when you're doing heel dominant strides and you're walking or running down the court. Also, this foam is really soft, so it feels nice and smooth here in the heel. Coming here into the forefoot, we have a nice rounded shape and also a lot of forefoot flex, right? So it's just a really smooth feeling heel to toe transition. It's not super springy, however. It's just more flexible, and it's literally the same in the regular Wade Flash. So there is the heel to toe transition. Now moving on to the cushioning setup. The cushioning setup is really nice for only $100, right? So it's not amazing, right? But for $100, it's really nice. And also for how good the court feel is, it's really nice as well. So they are using full length Cloud Plus foam, and yeah, it's a really soft foam, right? So here in the heel, we have a lot of compression, which I do like. That helps to absorb a little bit of impact, especially when you're doing heel strikes. But also, first of all, the insole's all right. It's not that nice. It's just a regular type of insole. It improves the stepping comfort just a tiny bit, but if you look underneath the insole, we can see a very nice soft mesh strobe board. And then also you can see the Cloud Plus foam in the heel and also in the forefoot. It has this kind of like massage tip type of pattern to it, and it kind of protrudes up, gives you a nice little feel. It kind of feels like a massage a little bit when you're walking around in the shoe, and also when you're playing in it. But also you can see here in the midfoot, the plastic midfoot chain plate, I guess it is top loaded, right? But yeah, stepping comfort's really nice in the $100 shoe, which I really do like. It's not crazy soft like the Kai 1, because the Kai 1 is The court feel is not as good as the Wade Flash, and the foam is a little bit thicker, but the Wade Flash is still pretty dang nice. You know, you get a nice little compression. It's pretty soft underneath the heel and also in the forefoot, while still having good core feel, adequate impact protection, and nice heel compression. So for $100, it's really nice, and it's literally the exact same as the regular Wade Flash. And now moving on to the upper, so that is the thing that they changed, right? And the leather material feels pretty nice. They kept it pretty thin. It's not super thick. Of course, it's a $100 shoe, so it's not a buttery, smooth, really nice quality leather, but it actually feels pretty nice, right? So it's relatively thin. Of course, it's definitely not as thin as the regular Wade Flash with the screen mesh material. This is extremely thin with a crazy amount of airflow, right? And this was for the summer, and this is for the winter, you know? It's getting colder. You want a little bit more warmth, I guess, especially if you're playing outside, right? So this makes sense. Also, we have this stitching going across kind of like the tip of the toe. We have some ventilation holes, but it conforms to your foot pretty dang well still, right? There's no pinching. It doesn't hurt at all, and it feels pretty well broken in still. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel cumbersome or anything like that, especially where the forefoot bends. So that feels pretty dang nice. Here on the lateral side, we can see the lightning bolt shape, right? And kind of wraps around here into the heel, but it is another leather material with some holes punched into it. For the regular Wade Flash, it was just a plastic material, right? And then on the medial side, we can see with the regular Wade Flash, we have an underlay material for better, you know, durability and support, but it is a really thin screen mesh. But here in this colorway, we have just stitching. And then for the tongue, we have it's pretty much the same exact tongue here on top, right? For the material, the lining, it's just here on the bottom of the tongue, it's this screen mesh material, which is very see-through. But then here in this colorway, we have a leather material, of course. It's also a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And then here in the ankle area, we have pretty much the same exact type of padding. It's not very well padded. It's actually pretty minimal. And then here in the Achilles, we do have a little bit of a pad, and also this material that does feel rough when you're going up and then smooth when you're going down. So that improves the heel lockdown just a tiny bit. And it feels pretty nice for the Achilles, you know, because there's a little bit more foam in here in the back. It also says Young DNA right here in the back, and also here on the tongue. So yeah, the upper material quality is actually pretty nice for only $100, and it feels really nice on foot. And it also does feel a little bit more supportive than the regular Wade Flash, although I didn't really have any huge issues with this shoe for support. So there is the upper there. Moving on to the fit, I went true to size, and this shoe fits me pretty dang well. It's a very snug fit, right? So here in the toe box, it's a snug fit. It's not super snug to the point where it's like choking my toes out, choking my foot out, which I do like, but overall it is more snug than normal. So that feels nice. Lengthwise, I'm good going true to size. My toes go very close to the edge of the shoe, and widthwise, it's more like a normal fit, you know, which I do like. It's not narrow, it's not super wide. So overall, it's a pretty dang nice fit for me, and especially with this kind of like leather material, it's not going to stretch out and get roomier once I break it in. So there is a fit there. For most people, you should be fine going true to size. And then moving on to support and lockdown. So for lateral containment, like I said, this material is overall a lot more supportive feeling than this mesh material, right? Even though, like I said, this was adequate for me, so that is improved for the overall support. And then for a lateral containment, we have the rubber coming up here in the forefoot acting as a sidewall, and also we have an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment feels like it'll be good. And also lateral stability, we have a very wide base. You can see an outrigger here. It protrudes out a good amount and making the overall base very wide. So lateral stability feels good, and I'm not really experiencing any type of heel slippage. And you know, the Wade Flash was really good for me for overall support and lockdown. So this shoe is a little bit better because the upper is a little bit stiffer feeling, just a tiny bit, right? So there's that. Moving on to the weight, I'm actually pretty curious, you know, because this was the lightest hoop shoe that you can get, like one of them. It's like top 3, I believe, and also the most well ventilated hoop shoe, right? So this was like 10 point something, right? 10.35 ounces. I don't know, this shoe still feels extremely light. It's 10.2 ounces? How is this shoe lighter? 10 ounces. This shoe is 10 ounces. 10 ounces versus 10.35. What? That's crazy. I don't know how they did that. How does that make sense? You know what I mean? But either way, it feels really lightweight and very minimal, which is a plus. But also, shoes that are cheaper especially from like Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour, they lack cushion, they lack overall structural support. Usually they're really flimsy feeling, but this shoe, it feels lightweight, minimal, but also supportive and pretty dang stable, especially for the overall upper and also the overall sole of the shoe. Even though this is still pretty soft feeling, it doesn't feel like super unstable, you know what I mean? So yeah, it feels really nice on foot. And moving on to the aesthetics, it looks really nice. And I feel like you can definitely also wear this casually, you know, with this leather material. This colorway looks really good. It's $100, which is a great price. And then if you want to hoop, you can hoop in these, you know what I mean? So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. And also, what do you guys think looks better? So now wrapping things up, yeah, this shoe feels really nice. Of course, the con would be it's not as good for ventilation as the regular Wade Flash, but now that it's getting colder, I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially if you are playing on an outdoor court, right? If you know, when you're playing, your feet get hot, but then when you cool down, you're kind of like, you're resting a little bit, you get really cold very easily, very quickly. So it would make sense. And also, I do think this looks a lot better for casual use than this kind of like mesh material that they got going on here in the regular Wade Flash. So this shoe is feeling really nice. And if it feels any different than the Wade Flash, I'll probably do a full performance review. But it feels very similar. It's besides the upper, it feels a little bit more supportive. So anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Wade Flash YNG DNA. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave in the free link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.